All right, we are live. Cool. All right, I'm gonna share the link to you guys right now. Boom. Here you go. I send a direct message. I'll tag you guys on Facebook. James, Harry, Joakim, done, and post. Cool. All right. Bada boom.
He has a pliable relationship with time. I'm like, where is this bum? He's like, oh yeah, I'm running 5 minutes behind. Oh.
I mean, like he had his girlfriend's birthday, so I'm like, oh, it's okay. But yeah. I appreciate that he wants to do this. So
yeah, for sure. I love that dude. Yeah. I love that dude. Don't let the on-screen stuff fool you.
All right. Time to work on this. So how's everybody's weekend?
Long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show will start at 7, so we got 20 minutes before we start. So
all right. So to conserve battery, because I'm not home, I'm gonna jump off and then jump on like a couple minutes before. All right.
That sounds perfect, man.
All right.
Cool. All right.
How about you guys? How's your weekend?
It was fun. I lost in a dance competition.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, my girlfriend was judging, and she gave me like not the perfect 5, but just a 4. So I kind of.
Damn, you seem salty right now. Maybe you didn't deserve it. Maybe you didn't deserve it.
Did not.
Look, see, now that's love and respect, to treat you like a professional and give you the proper score. That's love and respect.
You know what, Steve? You know what? Maybe you should just not be a guest today.
Don't hate, okay? He gets it.
I mean,
I don't give top scores anyway. You have to really impress me to give a perfect score, but
oh damn, she got that Simon Cowell going.
just saying. But however, yes, you did things that lowered your score. Just saying.
Maybe you should have took it for cheddar biscuits.
Think save biscuits. See if you would given me biscuits yesterday, I might have scored you higher.
There you go.
Bribery.
Lessons for next time. See, there you go.
You know what? You know what, Steve? You know what? Maybe today is not the right day today.
The man of wisdom. That's what I'm getting from this.
I'm just, I'm just trying to help along.
You're not helping right now. It's fine. Oh man. All right. Well,
That's the title of my autobiography. Not helping at all.
Oh man.
Okay. Now let's go ahead and share this.
Okay. Speed of light and a supersonic man out of you. Don't stop me now. Having a good time. I'm having a ball. Don't stop me now. Alright, boom. Time to message everyone.
Message everyone. See, that never works for me because I have like 6.5 friends.
Yeah.
And that's being generous. That's being generous.
I have very supportive friends, so. Boom, boom.
You have to tell me what that's like at some point.
See.
So we're gonna talk about basically how you got how everyone got started on doing wrestling commentary. We'll talk about your favorite commentators and all that stuff. So that'd be pretty cool. Go throw old school like Gorilla Monsoon with Vince McMahon and talk about bad commentating, good and bad. I mean, you're in audio, so you can give your audio engineering like, okay, you guys got to get these microphones or fix your audio or don't scream in the mic.
Nothing bothers me more when I hear like commentating and there's a match and it sounds like this and it's all the way over here and you can literally hear everything going on in the ring and not the actual commentators. I'm just like, it's painful. I mean, I get it, but still.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It's all good. It's all good. Your mic is a dynamic microphone that you're using right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's EVRE20. So like the radio standard.
Yeah.
Most people now, especially like streamers and stuff, they're using the SM7B.
The Shura? The Shura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Shura.
Mm-hmm.
I'll turn off my air conditioner before we start.
It's fine. What's up, Remy Resner? What's up, homie? He's watching. That's what's up. Appreciate the support.
Hey.
How was your weekend, Katrina? How was it? Yeah.
Is that what we're doing today? Dude, I was with you.
You know how my weekend went.
I begrudgingly judge a dance competition. Made me cook.
Ooh, what'd you make?
Well, I was supposed to cook originally, and then he was like, "It's gonna rain, so I'll order something." So I'm like, "Yes, I don't gotta cook today. I can just chill." And then he's like, "Yeah, no, we're gonna go shopping, and you're gonna cook." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, this is not
This is what we agreed upon."
So I made chicken and mashed potatoes since that's what he wanted me to make. So I did.
It was so good.
As well. I made egg sausage and waffles this morning. So my services,
Nice. If I was to grade the dinner last night.
Oh no, I knew that was coming. I knew it.
If I was to grade that, it was most definitely a 5.
Oh, okay. Trying to see. Okay. Well.
He believes he's taking the high ground.
Oh
but that's
man,
not
he
even the high
made
ground.
it. Yo, you did you rush? Did you?
Oh boy, look at this mess. Hey, buddy.
Yo, can everybody hear me?
No.
No? Okay. All right. That's
What's
a
up,
good answer.
Dante?
Oh, geez. Yeah, let me change the name on that. I use Dante's thing.
Well, yeah, I use Dave Lee's.
Oh, you do? Oh, yeah, because
Yeah,
he
of
pays for the
course I do.
premium shit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Same
That's why
here
I
with
use the
Dante.
premium Zoom.
Oh man, I'm gonna get like. Are you guys just gonna roast each other for like the whole entire day of the show? That'd be amazing. You guys just roast each other.
Probably not. That would be
You guys do
funny.
that on a regular basis at Catalyst? Well, back when I used to work at Capital, but
Capital.
Redacted.
Redacted.
You guys would like constantly roast each other on commentary.
Oh yeah, but
It's great.
it's all.
I
it's
loved
all
it.
with love.
I
Yeah.
loved it.
Are we on now or no? We're not.
The stream is live now, but the show didn't
Oh,
start
okay.
yet.
This is
The
like
show
a pre-
technically didn't have pre.
This is what is it? The honey barbecue Doritos Domino's
pre-show.
Gold pre-show
Kickoff. It's the
Yeah, the
kickoff,
kickoff
Steve,
show.
not the pre-show.
It's
Because
the
I know what
kickoff
happened there. I'll tell you what happened. Somebody went, well, pre-show sounds like it's not the show. This is the kickoff to the
It's true.
show. This is not before the show. This is part of the show. This is kicking off the show. So this way, when you wrestle at 5 o'clock and the people are still coming in, you shouldn't feel left out.
because you're kicking off the
You're
show.
kicking off the show. It's the type of showbiz stuff they do.
Totally different than curtain jerking.
Well, I remember one time when I was doing, when I first started doing comedy, there was a guy, they wanted you to do bringer shows. And that's how I first started out, which is you had to bring people to get on stage. So finally, I just decided, all right, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm a professional comedian. And then one guy got a hold of my number. He goes, hey, I saw your tape, man. I want you to be part of the new talent showcase. And I thought, okay, this is at like Caroline's Comedy Club. And I was like, oh, sweet. Yeah, I'd love to do that. He goes, yeah. So anyway, you got to bring like 10 people. And I go, listen, man, I don't do bringer shows anymore. I appreciate the offer, but I don't do bringer shows. He goes, well, don't think of it as having to bring people to perform. Think of it as you're performing and your friends just happen to be there.
Oh my god!
And I was like, yeah, no, that's not how that works.
That's not how
bro.
that works.
Nah.
Yeah.
Don't think of it having to blow somebody to get on the stage. Think of it as you're already performing and you're having to be blowing somebody.
So stupid.
Oh my
It
god.
is. It is. It is. But that happens. So I'm glad I made it here. Sorry for the craziness. I'm really excited to do this.
I kind of felt a little bit bad. It was like, oh wow, it's your girlfriend's birthday, and it's this. Like, you know what? Priorities first. But then,
Well, she's amazing. She didn't mind. Like once I kind of mentioned it, I knew she would say yes, but I was like, I don't want to.
yeah,
I don't want. There's only so many.
You only get a few of those. Yeah.
I mean, it's not even that. It's just at some point there's got to be a limit. Like I do shows and stuff, and and as much as I love you guys, and that's the only reason I've made it happen because I do love you guys.
Aw.
But I
even
was
though I
just
haven't
like,
seen you in God knows how long.
I miss seeing you. There's plenty of people I haven't seen in a while
Yeah,
over there, but it's always good to see you. I was always very happy to see
your
you.
hair got longer. I mean,
It did. This is a post-pandemic look. I went into the pandemic chubby comedian. I came out an undercover narcotics officer. This is a weird one, but I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but we'll see.
We don't know either. if it
I'm
makes you
pretty
feel
sure
any better.
Matt's gonna be like, you know what, new gimmick.
Well, we got
Here's the problem with that. Matt already told me there's a new gimmick.
Oh,
the the unemployment line. That was what Matt. Yeah. So there's no new gimmicks for me at Catalyst, unless barring something outrageous happening. Unfortunately, I'm no longer there. But it is what it is. It's not the first time I've been fired from someplace. It won't be the last, I assume.
I heard it is what it is. Do you mean stupid?
Yeah, it's a dumb
Gotcha,
decision.
gotcha. I just
It's
wanted
a
to
dumb
make
dumb
sure.
decision that's personal and has nothing to do with professionalism. But again,
heard that word.
not the first time that's happened to me either. So
This week.
this week, yeah, I mean, I've been fired. One of the places I got fired from, I remember when I was first doing comedy, you'd have to hand out flyers, and I did this show, and the guy was like, "Hey man, you are super funny," and I go, "Oh, thank you." He goes, "I have to fire you." I go, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, man, you're just not getting people into the club, so I got to fire you, even though you're really funny. So good luck."
It's like
And that
Wait,
should have been
wait. That's so. All right, let's use like wrestling logic. I guess altogether show logic. You're the promoter. Promote people coming, like, get people to come in.
Well, yeah, that's idea wise, that's the idea. But sometimes people produce shows and stuff. It's a weird thing. So somebody will have a venue, and then they will produce a night of that. Like, let's say the club can't draw, because some of these clubs, depending on, and some of them are comedy rooms. This was in the back of a hamburger restaurant in Times Square. This wasn't a real comedy club, but they just happened to have a stage. No, believe it or not, it was not a real comedy club. I don't know what the wrestling equivalent would be. I mean, it's maybe wrestling at a state fair, but a state fair is a good gig for a wrestler.
I mean,
people will show up by accident.
And a state fair is basically a fair. If people's gonna come in and see the other attractions outside of the wrestling,
some foot traffic. Yeah, but the idea was that somebody produced a show, or some of these comedy clubs on a Tuesday night, there's not a lot of people. So somebody produces a show, and then
the equivalent would probably be taping a wrestling show inside of a half baseball gym.
Okay. Yeah.
On an island of some kind.
On an island.
I feel like that might be the equivalent.
I mean, well, at least that one there was no expected audience. That was during the pandemic, and all
there wouldn't have been one anyway.
Not in the baseball facility.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's been outrageous places where they've done things. What is the strangest places you guys have seen or done a wrestling show at?
All right, so I never been, but I've seen and got invited, and I saw footage of a wrestling show done in an art exhibit.
In an art exhibit, okay.
That was one. Matt was there. I think Gangone worked Valentina.
Gangone, yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was an art exhibit because there was no art. I guess it was just an empty venue and say, hey guys, make do and have fun and.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it was just like an art gallery.
Yeah.
That was like,
let's showcase some art, extreme style. I don't know.
You know, I
mean,
give
wrestling
credit to
is
people
art.
who, I mean, sometimes. I enjoy when people try different things. I mean, at least it's better than here's the same old thing. But sometimes it just gets crazy out of pocket. I remember seeing a show that was just basically a bunch of cars in a circle, like no ring. It was just like, it felt like Over the Top, that arm wrestling movie with Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
It was just a circle of cars with the headlights on. And
they should have played like
that.
Journey in the background and just like
somebody should have been up for adoption, like during it, like an Over the Top.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar with the movie Over the Top, it's the film where Sylvester Stallone, for some reason, has to arm wrestle somebody for the custody of his son.
It's the grandfather.
Gotta love the 90s, man. Gotta love the 90s.
It's his dead wife's father.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That he's got to arm wrestle? Oh,
he arm wrestles somebody else to win, to get the custody back. But he's like a truck driver, and everyone seems to be a truck driver.
Wait, that wasn't Rocky? Oh,
no. It was Sylvester Stallone, but the name of the movie is Over the Top.
No, so Rocky was a street fight. Rocky had a street fight, right?
He did have a street fight in Rocky 5.
Okay. I'm getting the two mixed up. I do remember arm wrestling.
The Stallone-verse is very complicated.
A lot that happens. Rocky 5 is the street fight against Tommy Morrison.
Yes.
Rocky 13 is Adrian's Revenge. We all know that.
We all know this, yes. And then
She
Rocky
just beats him with a bird seed. Oh boy.
How are you, Katrina? By the way, I haven't been properly introduced. Pleasure to meet
Harry,
you.
this is my girlfriend Katrina.
Oh, pleasure.
And this is why you got a 4. Not doing your job.
All right, so she gave me a 4 at a dance competition last
4?
night. And even though I'm a professional dancer, she still gave me a 4 out of 5.
Out of
What?
5.
You gave him a 4 out of 5. Okay.
Yeah. I don't
What-
give 5s.
Okay, because in your eyes, it can't exist because humanity is flawed. So therefore, how can perfection exist?
Existential judging.
God, you know what, Harry? And like same thing I told Steven, maybe today's just not the day. I know you've been fired a couple times, but you know what?
Yeah.
It's
I just feel like they're very wise. They understand. It's fine. You're the odd man out here, Max.
I guess.
Look, I blame the school system personally.
This is
that's
true.
just me.
They should have shown you more dance. You should have gone to that high school in Fame,
Right?
and then it would have been fine.
Oh my God. We got 8 more minutes before we start, guys. Shout out to
No
Yorkie.
worries.
What's up, Yorkie? What up? I'm here. Had crazy last week. Well, you know what? I think we all had crazy last weeks. I mean, I work at a vet at a vet clinic, so my week is always crazy. Yeah.
Thankfully, we've been on hiatus this week where I work, so I've only had to go in for some office duty, and that's it. But we'll be back next week.
Ooh, Harry's eating something. Harry,
I am,
what are
man.
you eating?
Sorry about that.
Don't
Broadcast
say sorry.
professional.
No.
Don't say
The
sorry.
rules of first of all, the rules of any show are always arrive 10 minutes late, and arriving having not eaten, and eating on the air into a microphone is always the thing. I thought I was off camera for that, but
With your mouth open.
this is true. Yeah.
What are you eating, good sir?
All right. So because I'm doing keto. I'm a huge fan of these hot food buffets where the food is not necessarily the best quality, but decent quality and a good price. So I don't have to eat bread. So a lot of spinach with cheese, some seafood salad here. What I think is a stuffed mushroom. What I believe is pork ribs or chicken. Not sure. We're gonna find out together. And half a hard-boiled egg. You know what? 2 halves of a hard-boiled egg. So we're making one hard-boiled egg.
Did you just bring a Tonka truck and like scoop up a bunch of stuff and pour it in?
They have it to.
I didn't know that buffets have to-goes.
They absolutely have to goes. There you go.
Oh
So
my
it's
God.
not. It's
What
not.
kind of buffet? It looks a little kind of fancy. I mean,
It looks good on camera. It's all right. It's all
It
right.
looks like that
but
egg is screaming though. Like, you see
it
the
has
face-
like
Oh,
2. It's dying. I think it's got 2.
oh my God. He's
It does look like what would happen if you had an acid trip mid-meal. Yeah.
right? Not that any of us understand what that's about.
Oh, this is a drug-free podcast. All right, stay in school, kids.
Stay in school. Or don't.
oh my god.
Jay Moore had a story. This is wrestling related.
Yeah.
They had a story where they, for some reason, outside Madison Square Garden or somewhere, they saw Bobo Brazil. They go, he got out of a limousine with 2 blondes, and he walks by Jay Moore, and they were like, 10 or 12 years old. And he goes, "Ha ha, stay in school, kids." And they were like, "Wait, we could leave school?" Like, we had no idea we could.
He
just
made
stop
it worse.
Going.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made it worse. He goes, "Oh damn, I didn't know we could just stop going."
That's like me going to a dollar store and say, "Hey, can I have $1?"
Just pick up $1.
Like, this is a dollar store, right? This is 99 cents. Can I get 99 cents?
Look, we all know the dollar store never actually means the dollar store.
You know what's crazy? Speaking about dollar stores, why does every dollar store smell the same? You ever just go in there and it's like, it still smells like, I went to...
Yeah, it's not a great, because I mean, you get what you pay for at the dollar store. I can't imagine the payment's very high. There's not people motivated to clean that floor every day.
It's just people spilling discount cleaner all over the floor.
yes. I think
the
it's the
stuff they
cleaner
sell-
that they use. I'm pretty sure it's the cleaner.
Half the stuff they sell is like all latex, and it's like the powdered gloves.
Clorox with 2 O's or whatever.
Yes.
On the thing, yeah. Also,
Straight-
it's probably that plastic, that cheap plastic. Because I remember I'd get toys from the dollar store, and I mean, obviously, it's you're paying $1 for it, but it's that cheap plastic that kind of stinks. So that probably adds to the smell of everything.
Like the thumb wrestlers, the
The
plastic
thumb
ones
wrestlers.
that look like they're sitting on the toilet
Or
with
like
the hole in the back for your thumb.
bootleg
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan, and
Hulk-
like he's called something else.
Bulk Logan. Yeah.
Bulk Logan, yeah.
Bulk
Yeah.
Logan.
Perfect.
We haven't started the show, baby. My girlfriend's looking at me like,
you're-
why are you eating in the middle of a broadcast? I'm like, technically, we haven't started the show. So it's okay,
It's the
right?
kickoff.
Three
It's
more.
the kickoff.
It's the kickoff. We have 3 more minutes.
It's not unprofessional. I got 3 minutes to wolf this down. That's good, right?
You good.
Oh boy. Tell her happy birthday, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Steve says, Steve and the whole crew here, Katrina and Max say happy birthday.
happy birthday.
It's very sweet.
There's nowhere to go but down.
What's
Nowhere to go
up,
but
Joe?
down.
What's up, Joe? From River Region Wrestling. River Region Wrestling is in the house. Thank you.
See, Katrina, you got to balance out the landing. You start off very good, and then you bring them down just to even it out. Just to
I mean,
even it out.
listen.
Makes
I don't have
perfect
one.
sense.
Check Raheem is,
No, it does. It definitely does.
What are you using? Are you using OBS or?
I am using OBS. Yeah.
Nice. Big fan.
I've been
Big
watching.
fan of OBS.
I'm watching like plenty tutorials on OBS. But it's weird if I have to have OBS on the Mac, and we don't get
Right.
the nice updated stuff that Windows have, because they would update OBS a couple of times.
Yeah, they update the Windows version first, of course.
Get to test out the stuff out.
Bastard children. Mac always gets the
We get the short end of the stick.
hand-me-downs, yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Joakim?
I'm good, brother. I'm good.
Welcome back. Welcome back. All right. Cool. All right, we're gonna start in 1 minute, guys. So, looking forward to this. Steve, I'm also using the Rodecaster Pro for this. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love this thing.
Oh god, it's a beautiful.
It's
so good. Makes life so much easier.
So much easier, and you could switch screens now and scenes with the touchpad. Yeah, which makes life easier. Although I have the Stream Deck, so.
All right. Okay, in 5, 4, 3, 2. What's good, everyone? Welcome to the EFBC channel. Today's guest, I got Joakim from Battle Club Pro. I got Steve and Harry from Catalyst Wrestling. And I also got my homegirl, my girlfriend, Katrina. What's up, everyone? Let's do this.
I need you to understand that you almost got like glared through the screen for that homegirl comment. Oh, we can demote you if you want to get demoted. We can demote you. Okay.
He cleaned it up at the end, like I said before. You started off and you balance it out.
Today's topic is commentating, guys. Commentating on your EFED shows. So there's gonna be mostly more wrestling besides e-fedding in a way. For people who don't know e-fedding, especially for the guests who knows it. So in Extreme Virtual Pro Wrestling, it's the whole video game. We handle the action in the video games, but the wrestling action in the video games, but we also do the promos, live promos. So in this universe, even though it's still wrestling, it's the EFED is the Electronic Federation, the mostly all virtual. So when I use the word EFED or CAW, C-A-W, CAW wrestling, that's the universe that I'm in because I can't wrestle. But hey, I'm going to use my wrestler in the game to handle the action. And we're going to talk about how important commentating is in EFED. So since I have you guys, Steve, Harry, Joakim, you guys are professional commentators in wrestling. You guys are basically going to share us, give us tips on how to improve and why is commentating very important in wrestling. So this is why I have you guys here. And Steve is just looking like, wait, what? What did I sign up for?
No, I'm just happy to be here. You talk about EFEDs and stuff like that. I mean, you were kind of the first person to kind of show me that side of things because I know for me as a kid, I would practice doing commentary with friends by putting the computer versus the computer then just calling the match. That was just something that we did as like a friend group. So I absolutely see the value of that style of entertainment for sure.
Yeah, because if I show you a couple of these shows, you'd be like, man, their commentary, especially even sound in itself, the audio is, woo!
Being able to be heard is pretty key to it. You'd be surprised how many people. Definitely like a nice commentary where the rest that you can hear the mat, everyone hit the mat, which is nice, and the crowd, and then a little bit of somebody in the background. You definitely want to be heard. That's the big deal. I mean, get the technical part of it. But listen, man, everyone, not to say real wrestling federations, real wrestling companies that don't have great commentary. It's hard to find it. It's hard to get it done right. Steve and I both actually come from a technical background. So we would literally set up the commentary I mean, we would be there on top of actually doing the commentary. We would set up take different turns setting up the audio for it. And it takes a long time to get it right. And even then, when you hand it off to somebody who's editing it, they can mess it up.
Is this why you guys are like constantly sweating before the show starts? Because you're like,
oh yeah, oh, most definitely.
Several reasons, but that just happens to be 4 of them.
It's like it's like audio. Crap! You forgot. Did you get the cable wire? Oh, I gotta go back home. Oh, okay, come back. And you guys.
One of the lessons that I was taught when it comes to video, the most important thing for video is audio. Because you can have great video, but if your audio is crackling and like it sounds bad, people are going to turn off. You know what I mean? If your audio is good and the visuals are a little bit, you can still work with that more than you can bad audio, because bad audio will instantly turn somebody off. So yeah, it takes time to get that stuff right. Like Harry said, me and him come from a technical background, so we have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to that. He comes with his own gear. I come with my own gear, as opposed to some other places of commentary who, unfortunately, they rely on what the promoter can provide sometimes, and they're kind of set up for failure. I feel bad because there's plenty of talented commentary teams out there who will show up and not really have the equipment to be set up for success, where they might have a great call, but it's missed because the microphone crackled because somebody's using an XLR from, the 70s, or a microphone that doesn't quite work, and they're hamstrung. They don't understand. Maybe don't use a certain type of microphone, because when you're turning your head, you can't. You're off mic and stuff like that. So
I know, because I remember, because I used to be heavily into like the club and to the whole hip hop party scene and whatnot. And I know a lot of DJs, when they go to these clubs, they have to bring their own controller because they don't trust what the club provides them. So bringing your own DJ controller, your own mic, sometimes even your own speakers, that's a big part of that. And coming from, I guess, a commentating circle, I'd rather bring my own gear because I trust my own gear. I know the ins and outs of my own gear. So,
we've had to do it, especially with us starting out the way we started out at the company we started at, Catalyst or Capital, whatever it was at the time. We had no choice in it. Like, if we didn't record the commentary, it wasn't going to get done. So it's a weird thing to have to, eventually we'd have different companies come in, but most of the time they'd come in and they go, and depending on, month to month, but most of the time we had to do it ourselves. So it's this strange thing, and it's not great because it takes a lot of the energy out of you. Like, I was just looking back to do demo reels because I'm sending out for more work now. And I can tell which shows I was particularly tired on because I have no energy left, because I spent 3.5 hours trying to figure out how to set up the commentary and the table, and it's everything that goes.
And you were also doing in-ring action, technically. I mean,
I was on camera. Running around. Then I have to remember 4 promos and who was, and then
some would say he was overexposed. I don't know who those people are.
I said I was overexposed, which is strange to be like, hey, you got to take me off. I mean, I love being on camera, but if I can't do it right, I don't want to mess these things up. So it was like, hey, let's dial it back, because then I can't focus on the notes of what's going on. That was another thing. We didn't have any time in between. So, we're just rushing to the next thing. And you don't have time to, preparing is really important.
Joakim, I know you run Battle Club, and I know you do commentary, so I'm pretty sure you have a lot of like similarities to Harry, right?
Yeah. So before I started running Battle Club, I would do commentary for the companies like Tier 1, 5 Boroughs, the Wrestlers Lab. And much like was said earlier, you can't really trust what the promoter's going to provide. So I ended up getting my own thing. And I ended up just using it for Battle Club. But they're spot on. If audio is bad but videos are good, like, people will just kind of tune out because it's a whole sensory thing going on where, if you're of, let's say, 27 years or older, like, crappy video, something you kind of grew up with, so you could, deal with video not being the absolute best as long as you understand what's going on. Commentary is so vital, getting stories across, being able to convey what the wrestlers want to say while they're physically, displaying whatever story they're trying to tell. So it's so important to have a good commentary team, people who are, experienced, know what they're saying, good vocabulary. I'm going to shout them out now. Color commentary is something that I think isn't done really particularly well in independent wrestling. I'm not too familiar with the, call world, the virtual e-feds or whatever, but like a good color commentator can propel someone doing play-by-play or analyzing what's going on and draw in someone watching, because wrestling's an art form. So you can cry, you can laugh, you can, have your mind blown by what is being done in the ring, what's being said on commentary. So yeah, I totally agree with everything that was said beforehand. It's always best to bring your own gear.
That's what's up, man. So I guess this is really, the way we started was pretty strong. So I just want to give a little short background of how you guys got into it, or I guess a little background of how you got into the whole wrestling, like what got you started. So I guess starting with Steve, man. When did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I was a wrestling fan. Like my grandmother, if you're an Italian immigrant from Brooklyn, Bruno Sammartino and wrestling is like everything. So I would watch it with my grandma. She would show me old tapes and stuff like that. But I remember there was a promotion, 2KW, over in the Bronx, which is no longer a thing, but they were around for a while. I had a radio show at the time, and I met with Matt, and he booked some wrestlers on the show to do some interviews. And then he invited me out to the show. I was like, oh, okay. I came out to the show. The audio was a bit of a disaster, in-house and stuff like that. So I offered my services. I was like, hey, well, I can do this, I can do that. Let's work out a deal. So we worked out a deal. Then Harry, I guess you started calling matches around that time, and then someone pulled out, and then I jumped in with you.
To jump in with this is an interesting story. I also knew Matt separately from Steve. I didn't know Steve. Matt was dating my roommate at the time. And so Matt started doing this wrestling thing, and I just wanted to go. I would hang out with Matt and just go to shows and stuff. Like I was excited to go to like all these independent shows. And so I was helping him do production work and stuff, doing some camera stuff. I did some editing, but I always wanted to do, and I'd set up the audio for the color commentary to record the color commentary, but I always wanted to try it. So I asked if I could do like a dark match. And I always had an itch. I was a performer. I've been doing stand-up comedy and acting for years before that, for over 10 years. So in the back of my head, I always wanted to try it. And so he let me do it during a couple dark matches on the show. And I was pretty good at it for a newbie. And so it's the classic thing of there was a guy who did the play-by-play, and he was really good at it. I'm not going to mention his name because he, I believe, had a bit of a drinking problem. Mm-hmm. This sounds like I was doing like a baseball game in the 1940s.
Brockmeyer. Yeah.
Brockmeyer. But one day he just no-showed because I think he had a drinking problem. And he just no-showed. No call, no show. And they didn't have anyone to do commentary. So I was there, right place, right time. And I called the whole show. And I think Steve, you had started working your way into, because that's what you wanted to do. You wanted to be a broadcaster. And we ended up teamed together for that show. And then, and we had a great time, great chemistry. Like, Steve's a great play-by-play guy. And I think I'm a really good color commentator. So we meshed really well. And from then on, we just started doing color commentary together as a team. And I was only supposed to do one show.
Same.
One show. It was literally supposed to be one show. And then
it's never just one.
It's never just one show. Yeah. And because I was willing to do it for free initially, that's always a benefit.
See, initially is the key word. Remember, it's the pro wrestling business. Yeah. Value yourself accordingly. It's great to be able to do it, and just get your foot in the door and offer your services. But know that there's a certain point where you need to have that conversation where you're going, look, this is my rate, or this is where I feel I'm valued, and this is the amount of work I give you. This is what I bring to the table. What can we do? What's in your budget to bring me in? Because if you're not getting paid, I'm sorry. For me, no. It's just the nature of the beast. Everyone gets paid. Everyone should be getting paid, period. It's a profession.
And Joakim, man. You still there, bro?
Yeah, sorry, I was having trouble with the mute button.
Okay.
Well, just to piggyback off what Steve said, yeah, absolutely, everybody should be getting paid. I pride myself on making sure everyone's taken care of. And yeah, take care of your commentators, take care of the commentary team, because if you compensate them and you treat them well, they're gonna put you over. They're gonna put the company over, the promoter over, the talent over. As far as I go, 2016, I got hit with a Facebook message saying, "Hey, we want you to do commentary. This is Carlos Aristi. This is the original founder of Battle Club." And I thought it was a rib, kind of, because all him and I ever did was argue over Facebook.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, all we did was argue. So I thought it was a joke. But me being me, and at the time, I was gonna lose my job, so I was just like, hell, whatever. I'll take any opportunity that comes my way. So I said, yeah. But again, still thinking it's a rib. And then I start seeing matches be promoted, and I'm like, okay, this is a real thing. I hit Carlos up, and I'm like, hey, I want to be more than just part of the commentary team. I'd love to be a partner. I'd love to really throw my hat into the promoting ring and go from there.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, it slowly trickled into just doing more than commentary. It was, book a match here, book a talent there, get more of the ins and outs. And eventually, in 2017, he made me his partner. In 2018, he just surrendered it to me fully. And that's how I've been in charge ever since. My commentary gigs outside of Battle Club have gone down, particularly because of what Steve said. Like, if I'm bringing my own gear, if I have experience, if I know how to run a show, I'm going to be compensated for such. And contrary to what people believe, there are a lot of promoters who will not pay for commentary.
Tax return promoters.
I believe it. I believe that fully.
Well, no, because the fans just see the finished product and they automatically think everybody got taken care of and everything's fine and dandy, and it's really not the case. So those commentary gigs for me have gone down, but in total agreement, it's best to have your own gear. It's best to have your own equipment. I've graduated from just having commentary equipment to having full sound setup. Mm-hmm. And when you do right by people, they do right by you. So the guy I use for video production has started jumping into audio, and we've gotten together and gotten the right equipment so that the show sounds even better. It's even clearer. And just circling all the way back around about how important everything is, like I said, Gino Gotts. It's crazy because more wrestlers don't seem to do it on the independents, but wrestlers who, have a good sized tenure, who are maybe on their way out, like Mike Law has been around forever. He's still going. He's great, but he's so good at commentary and being an analyst because he knows what's going on in the ring. He understands the storytelling. He understands the psychology of the match. So it's always good to have that. Like, a 3-man booth is good because maybe you get someone who wasn't a former performer, who never really stepped in the ring, but knows the game, knows what's going on. And they can be your play-by-play guy,
I just want to double down on what he just said about Mike Law. I've had the opportunity to work with Mike Law recently on the desk, and he's spot on about that. If he once it's time for him to hang up his boots or move out of the in-ring stuff or bring it back, he definitely has a spot at the table because he brings something to the point that was made. I like having an athlete there now. If I can't have Harry, which unfortunately right now we're not paired together, we have a different style together, more of a Gorilla and Bobby type situation, I think, for the modern era. If I can't have that with that chemistry, it's always good to have a former athlete because I can translate visually what's happening in the ring, but no one can speak to the emotion and why they're doing that better
makes
than
sense.
someone who's
Yeah,
experienced.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Right, completely. So yeah, to me, a really good 3-man booth is perfect. Ideally, you would have an analyst who's a former athlete or current competitor that just wants to try their hand at that. Like I said about, Mike, we're in agreement with Mike. Color guy, Gino Gotts is the best color guy to me. No offense to anybody. To me, on the East Coast, his wit, his ability to just say something absurd and funny at the drop of a hat is incredible. And then the play-by-play guy. I tend to do play-by-play for Battle Club. I know the product better than most, know the stories better than most, and I'm always speaking to talent. Hey, what do you want to get over? What are the name of your moves? Why is it you're doing this? What's the story behind your finish? Why you're doing this? So, to me, a really solid 3-man booth is perfect because you fill every role. Sometimes it's tough. You just talk over each other. You step on each other's calls. But, if you're professional and you guys get familiar, when to say something, how to say something. You can give each other a certain look. You can give each other that look. It's like, I got this. And you go from there. So translating this to the EFED thing, I think is very vital because as realistic as games have become, there's still that little bit lack of emotion, obviously, because it's not real. Exactly. So when you can get someone like a Mike Law who can tell you, even though it's a wild lariat spot and it's in a video game, he can tell you what it is that's actually happening. The inside out bump is because due to the force behind the lariat, like all those little things. And again, further convey those stories, especially, like I said, electronically. Really weird, wild story that this conversation kind of made me remember is when I was really, really, really young, WrestleMania 2000. So
the best
what was
one.
that, like 15, 16?
Yeah.
What I would do is record myself playing the video games. Like, how after the match they would show you the highlights?
Yeah, correct.
So let's say I do like 4 matches in a row with Triple H, and I would just record the highlights. Then I would I would input like regular music, not the music they had, like, My Way or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like, as the highlights are going, I'd record myself calling the spots. So I would throw together like an EFED type of highlight reel. And I just did this for myself, just for the hell of it, because there's only so many times you can, end the game with a different wrestler.
Yeah.
So that's how I filled the gap until No Mercy had came out.
So you guys technically had a taste of what EFED was about because that's what made you want, like, oh, I see myself doing this, or that's actually pretty cool.
Right.
So to piggyback off what everybody said, and Katrina's gonna laugh at this, is see, you guys do it live commentary. In EFED, we're able to chop, edit, okay, let's redo that again. And there are times where Katrina and I do commentary and be like, okay, you ready to take another take? Like, fuck, we gotta do this again. Like, yeah, this is the ending. Like, I'm not feeling that one. Let's chop it up here. And I would like go back. Okay, blah 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 blah. And here's the lariat. Oh man, and and Katrina like, and yeah, because my goal in this is I want to do it live now. I don't want to like chop, edit, and all that stuff. I want to see if we can actually do one full take of a whole entire match. Because, then we work on the next match and the next match. For you guys do it live. So I give so much credit because I remember when I'm doing commentary for the first time, I'm like, crap. Like, now I understand what everybody's going through now, especially when they do it live. Because
there's something that happens for some reason. Every once in a while, you have to either record it or re-record it. It doesn't happen often, but Steve and I would have to do an additional take recorded. I don't know why, and I know this from acting as well. When you have to do something live, you just push through it. But when you have an opportunity to do more takes, for some reason, something psychologically happens where you screw up more often when it's pre-recorded. I don't know what that is, but from a human nature, maybe it's the adrenaline that gets you through it. But and definitely, just going back to the EFED thing, no matter what commentary you're doing, energy is huge. Like, it's always better to have too much energy than not enough energy. And that's something I would deal with, especially when you're doing it pre-recorded. or when it's not live, because the live crowd will give you energy. But when you're doing it in the studio, for some reason, you have to like even double it and amplify it more.
It's so huge to do it live because for me, I prefer that because there's no safety net. There's no safety net. There's no going back. For me, it's important to be in the moment with everything. How can you capture the emotion that's happening in the moment correctly or translate it with authenticity when it's happening secondhand, when you've already seen it and you're going back and you're overthinking it and you're overanalyzing it? If you missed it and you blew it, guess what? Pardon my Brooklyn, but you effing blew it. You know, recover, go back. It happens. Yeah. A lot of times people forget, and this is to go back to what was said about the 3-man booth. I prefer 2-man booth. 3-man booth is good sometimes. It's important to know when not to speak too. That's a huge skill with commentary. Let the action breathe. Let the emotion breathe. Let the people in the crowd and at home watching process the information that they just received and then explain it to them. Let it sit. Don't just rush to get in there to get your shit in, as they say.
Mm-hmm. True.
I think without the safety net, it's so important.
That's a great point. Letting the action breathe. And I agree that it's much easier to do with 2 men. But maybe it's just because I'm the promoter. But when I'm on commentary in a 3-man booth and we have those moments where it's like, just shut up, just let the crowd at home watch. You know, a good play-by-play guy, or even the analyst, the athlete, you know, throws his hands up like, guys, quiet, like you don't say anything, right? Like, shh, let the moment breathe, let it happen. But it's absolutely true. And again, that's another reason why it's so important to have a solid team, whether it's 2 or 3 men, you know, or women or whoever, 2 or 3 people on the booth, in the booth. It's so important because too much silence can hurt. Oof. Not enough silence can hurt. And to tackle what he said before and what you said before about, you know, not doing it live, I hate doing recorded comments. Like, it's the worst. Yeah. I had to do it a few months back where footage was taped and it didn't work out to do it live. So then we had to do it at my house remotely. It was the worst. It was absolutely the worst.
Your neighbors must be like, oh my God, what's happening over there?
It's such a headache. And you know, it is like you lose a bit of the luster when you've seen a great spot 4 or 5 times and you're trying to call it, or whatever accident happens. Like, yeah, adrenaline definitely pushes you through. And even if you make a mistake, if your team is right, they'll pick you right up. Like, I've literally, like, this is one of the most embarrassing moments. Like, I was so beat at a show once, a Battle Club show once, I didn't finish a word. I said manu. I just faded into oblivion. And my commentary partner picked me up, and I apologized and kind of explained what was going on. But yeah, like, it is vital to me. It's the best. It's the best way. There's nothing wrong with doing a closed caption or, you know, remotely or whatever, you know, studio set, but doing it live, just you make less mistakes because you're cognizant of the fact that this shit is live. I need to be on my A game.
And the good point is, I just want to piggyback off of what you said, because myself and Harry have both made mistakes in that regard, like the half word thing. But when you have chemistry with somebody and you are live, you have no choice but to play into it. So a lot of times Harry would get on me. He would comedically like give me shit, and then I would have to eat it, or vice versa, and play into it, and then we could move on. The worst thing you can do is just ignore it like it didn't happen. Because everyone knows that it did. So it's just kind of finding a way to fold that in. If you have a baby face heel dynamic on your commentary team, it's a lot easier if it's established and you've established it well. It's a lot easier to play with that. When mistakes happen, you can give each other a back and forth there to kind of cover up for it. And then people move on from the actual mistake to the entertainment of what just happened.
And luckily for me, I'm a heel, when I do color commentary, which I think is rare nowadays. And so when I mess up names, which is quite frequently because I have a terrible situation with names, which is not great, but that also helps with the preparation. And so when I screw up a name, Steve could be like, you don't even know what you're doing. Be professional or whatever. If I get a wrong name, I'm like, I got a lot to do here. There's a lot going on.
Because he was also the owner at the same time.
Yeah, I was also the owner.
You were the owner.
Yeah, so you mix it in. He's the Michael Scott of he was the Michael Scott of pro wrestling.
The beauty of being a heel is that there's nothing wrong that you could do. Like you can't if you mess up, it's okay because you're a heel. It's okay to mess up.
Someone else's fault.
It's someone else's fault, or I meant to do that, or blah blah blah. Or I kept calling Chuck Payne Chuck Taylor for a while, and I know Chuck Payne, so it's not like it was every time, but just you got a lot going on in your head, a lot of notes, and Steve would yell at me and go, "What's the matter with you?"
That's my favorite bit for a heel color guy is mess up. You'll correct them. He said, that's what I said. Like, it never gets old because it's like, no, we know you messed up. And you're like, no, I didn't. That's exactly what I said. You just didn't hear right.
Yeah. Well, my favorite thing, I turn it into a catchphrase and I go, never correct me, especially when I'm wrong. And so,
that's epic.
I want to ask you a question. I realize for me when I do commentating on my show is I have my own little trademark saying or something like ladies and gentlemen. I kept saying ladies and gentlemen. Do you guys how Joey Styles has the oh my god or Mamma Mia so do you guys have a normal saying where you just can't break that habit? Like you guys have a specific phrase or something? Like
I don't think it's bad to have say a catchphrase or something that people can recognize you with, like a big match, a big finish. Mm-hmm. You call the fall a certain way with certain verbiage.
You could count to 1,000.
You can count to 1,000. You've got the promoter always wins.
Yeah, that was my catchphrase. The promoter always wins. Consider yourselves entertained, because I was Mr. Entertainment.
So there's reasons to have those things. Yeah. I think when the problem is when you don't vary your verbiage, when you don't say, you have to use multiple words for the same thing, because a lot of times there's repetition in wrestling, especially when you have 9 or 10 matches a night, which, by the way, guys, can we work as an industry? Can we work on a tight 2-hour show, please? Like, the 4-hour shows are killing everybody, including the fans. But I digress. You have to find ways to say the same thing differently. And if you have catch-all words, because in the beginning, I would say absolutely, or Harry would say absolutely, Steven, or like we would have the same sort of response very early on. When you become aware of those things, you just have to practice and improve your vocabulary to do that. It's a skill set that you have to practice. And you have to prepare for.
That's also where the preparation comes in, because then you can talk about the individual athlete in the match. And if you have notes that you've prepared or have been prepared for you, you could discuss, more personal background stories. So you don't have to fill it in with generic, or not generic, but catchphrases, because you spend your time focusing on the story of the match. That should be specific enough. But there's always going to be those things that you always talk about. Good tag team wrestling is making sure somebody stays away from the corner. But also, if the match is good enough, I found this. It's certainly a lot easier when there's a great match, when there's a good story being told within the match. When the match is crap, it's hard to have good commentary when you don't know what's going on, when the finish isn't clear, there's too many people involved.
Gaga.
We've had people show up in the match that weren't supposed to show up, and then found out that one of the promoters just randomly sent somebody out for no reason. So you have to remember this guy's name.
We had no clue what was going on. The performer had no clue until that moment.
Oh my God.
And then I'll tell you this, where it becomes this. One time I was also managing, so I was doing everything, and I was also managing Homicide at the point. And the thing about Homicide is, and God bless him, because he wanted me involved, he wanted me because of Homicide, I got more involved in the ring with, helping heel, helping with the finishes, getting involved as a distraction, whatever. The problem is nobody would tell me, or Homicide would make that decision while we were on the air. So I get a tap on my shoulder that says Homicide wants to talk to you. And I look at Steve and I go, I'll be right back, bro.
Mid-broadcast.
Middle of a match. I had to leave, go get my spots from Homicide. So now on top of that, now I have to remember when I'm supposed to go up. So it's hard to concentrate on calling the match because I don't want to go up too early. And then I also don't want to miss my cue and miss my spot and go up too late because I need to grab, Colby Carino's leg or whatever, and get kicked off of the ring apron. And so now I don't know what's going on in the match. I'm just panicking. Is it now? No, wait. He said it was after the Boston. Is that a Boston Crab? Or is that a Walls of Jericho? Is there a difference? That's a single leg Boston Crab. Is that what he meant? Oh no.
And I'm over here having to try and keep Harry on task as well, but I can tell. Just don't overextend your commentary team. That's a good lesson. Just don't overextend them.
Wow. That's, what's funny is that those are the type of stories that you're always going to tell, and it's going to be like, that's a good story,
I'll tell you one that happened that surprised the hell out of me. I was doing some angle with Killian McMurphy where he lost the match and he had to be my assistant. Right. And so somebody called me, probably Ash Samuels, was like, hey, we have this idea. We're going to make, now that he works for you, you're going to make Killian McMurphy wear corporate attire. So what we want you to do is we want you to bring in your biggest shirt, because at the time I weighed over 300 pounds. They go, bring in your biggest shirt and bring in a tie, and it'll look funny on him that you're making him wear your shirt or whatever. So I go, sure. I go through my closet. I go, what's the biggest shirt I have? Let me see. And I see a shirt there that my girlfriend had given me, I believe, for my birthday. And because I'm at 300 pounds, it's a gigantic shirt. It hasn't been tailored yet. So it's just, when they make big and tall stuff, they just make shirts for like the fattest human being they can think of. And you figure out what to do with the shirt. So it's like a tarp, even on me. So I go, this will be a perfect shirt to give Killian. I bring it there. I go, all right, just, give this back to me when you're done, because I'm still going to wear it. They go, oh yeah, don't worry about it. I'm cutting some promo in the ring. Killian comes out wearing my shirt and tie.
Looks ridiculous.
It looks ridiculous. He's wearing it over his Letterman's jacket, right? And the first thing he does is take the shirt and tie and then just rip it open. And I see the buttons go flying by everywhere into the crowd. And I just have a shocked look on my face. And, obviously I'm a heel, so I'm just screaming, that's my shirt. He ripped my shirt. But I really mean it. I'm like, he ripped my shirt. And he gets in the ring. I go, you ripped my shirt, you son of a bitch. I'm playing into it.
But you're being
But I don't have to work very hard, because I'm like, you ripped my shirt. And I get to the commentary table. I go, he ripped my shirt. That's a two. Now I have to. All right, now it's happened. I didn't expect this to happen. So there's a genuine shocked look on my face. So I go, all right, now I got to play up. This is an expensive shirt. That was a $200 silk shirt. That's Moroccan cotton or whatever. I just come up with a country. I go, that's a $200 shirt. Steve goes, are they charging by the foot? Is that because it's so big? And I have to bite my tongue from laughing, right? So now this shirt is destroyed. So now I see the humor in it. I'm a comedian. I do stand up. I get it. I see the humor and the irony in it. It's my fault. So I made the mistake of telling my girlfriend, I go, baby, I think this is the funniest story. I go, you're not going to believe what happened to that shirt that I gave you. And she's like, the shirt I got you for your birthday? I go, yeah, the shirt. I'm totally missing all the signs.
All the signals of
I go, yeah, that shirt. The big one, the white one. I go, anyway. So I gave it to Killian, blah, blah, blah. And would you believe it? He rips the shirt. And there I am in the ring, shocked and surprised. Isn't that funny? And no laughter, no response. And I see a single tear start rolling down her face. No. She goes, I don't know why you would give him the shirt that I gave you. You mean the shirt I gave you for your birthday that I bought specifically for you? I go, yeah. But it was for a prop. I needed the biggest shirt. She goes, so you couldn't find any other shirt.
My love is a prop to you?
My love is a prop to you? I'm a prop to you?
Yeah, it means, I guess it meant nothing. She starts bawling. I go, no, you don't understand. It's comedy because it's tragic. It's comedy. For 2 hours, I spent trying to explain to her, I don't see the humor in it, blah, blah, blah. It took me 2 hours to get her to calm down. And I was like, I totally misjudged that. And to this day, I can't even show the clip. I showed her the clip. She's like, I don't even want to watch this. You know?
Never bought you a shirt again.
So
that must be her. That must be like the worst episode for her. Like,
yeah. She's like, I still don't see what's funny about it. But okay, like she loves me. She's great. But lesson learned. Don't bring anything into the ring that you don't expect to get. Don't lend it to anybody. Don't lend anything to anybody that you don't expect to be destroyed.
Oh my God.
You have to be adaptable to any situation, to kind of piggyback off of that, because there is a certain measure of control that you don't have at the commentary table. Stuff gets edited on the fly. Things change. Matches change in the middle of the show. Okay, this match.
People get hurt.
People get hurt. This performer switched matches because, they want to make a double shot, and a good promoter will do their best to try and make sure that their talent can make their double shot.
A good promoter will let the commentary team know, but a lousy promoter will just show them out the curtain, and then you figure it out for yourself as you flip through.
Wait! I thought I don't know who any of these people are. They just randomly show up, and
who's
they
this
put
guy
them
in
on.
a mask? I don't know.
I used to do host video game tournaments, Super Smash Bros. Melee, and all that stuff. And sometimes, when we do commentary, sometimes we'll interview a guest while a match is happening, and I look at a person, and out of nowhere he'll say something like, "Did he just say that?"
Dump out. Yeah, you just have to be adaptable.
And they're young. They say whatever on the stream, like and like I'm like, don't say that. No, fuck.
Don't ruin my career.
Yeah, it's
taking me down.
The video game industry, man. It's the streamer industry. The video game industry is like everybody can be a quote unquote commentator or streaming and commentating. Sometimes it's a little bit like you don't know how to commentate, but you know how to stream and you know what to say. But this is now a thing now, and like I think it gets missed apart. Like for commentating.
It's a big problem, honestly, because I'm a professional broadcaster.
Yeah,
I went to school for it. I have trained at it. I do this for a living. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of places, a lot of promotions who will just grab someone who talks into a microphone because it's free. Yeah. And they just fill their product with that. You can tell the difference. And I'm not knocking anybody for trying to get their foot in the door and to get a payday because, they should. But it would behoove the promoters to recognize who the professionals are in professional wrestling and who the people who are just there because it's fun to be there.
The irony is some places don't. They look at the commentary as sort of an afterthought. But if you have commentary, the commentators are going to be there for the entire show. And in theory, either 4 hours or the equivalent of weeks of television. So it shouldn't be an afterthought, but it is in a weird way. Like they're there for the entire show.
And they're on more than the performers.
That. Yeah.
People forget
for every match.
Nobody has spent more time at the Catalyst / Capital Company. Nobody has spent more time on camera, either visually or audibly, than me and Steve. Not one person, just because we're calling every match. So it's important that whoever you put in there kind of knows what they're doing. And knows their place. Like for me and Steve, the other thing is it's a weird balance because I do a heel commentary thing, but I also had to balance like when to be funny and when to treat it as a legitimate sporting contest. And depending on the match and who's and what position on the card it is and how serious the story is. So I have to adapt to that ability of not just like trying to get my shit in there and get my stuff over because it's not about me. It's about getting the match and the story over. So I've had to learn like when to lay out, when to let Steve get the last word. If he has a better last phrase or vice versa, there's no reason to keep talking after. If he has a great closing line, we'll be able to look at each other and go, like, put our hand on the other person's hand and go, you got that one.
Like, you do a little foot tap or a little poke or like
just a little bit, a hand on the thing, like, or like a thumbs up, like acknowledging Oh, that was a great line.
Usually the other person knows, like you
We
can
do,
feel
yeah.
that. Yeah.
But I've had a
that comes
couple
with chemistry.
I have had a couple partners who are not Steve every once in a while that they try to get the last word in. Like, the person goes,
They'll rush
you.
it in there.
Yeah, just like an unnecessary addition, like an amazing night of action, an unbelievable event. What a way to close out the show. Good night. And then the other person goes, thank you for joining us on this journey. Like, why did you squeeze that in? That added nothing. It didn't make you look good. It didn't put you over. It just, you wanted to just jump in and get the last word for some reason.
So
that person is the one who did not show up because they were drinking, by the way.
Oh my god.
No coincidence.
So I got a question. When I started doing commentary and all stuff, I would actually look back at certain shows, not just in CAW or in EFED. I looked at, okay, if I'm really gonna do commentary, it's either I'm gonna do a lot of research and just listen, just keep listening. Like now when I watch WWE, AEW, I actually like listen, just so what you call it, the sleeper or like a little catchphrase or the vertical, horizontal, like little sayings here and there, or the pin or the false count, like certain lingos and all that stuff. Then I look at the chemistry of what so and so had. So I got a question for you guys. I guess I'll start with Joakim. Who are, I guess, top 3 commentators or famous commentators that you look up to be like, okay, I like this. I like the way this guy said that. I like his chemistry with this. So do you have like a favorite commentary team or favorite commentators?
Great question. It's going to sound weird to say, but like in the world of wrestling, there's the cliche like Jim Ross, or if you're older, Gordon Soley, or, some people like Tony Schiavone, but whatever. For me, I've always tried to do my best to make Battle Club or whatever company I'm calling the action for seem as legit a sport as possible. So I always do my best to watch live sports. So like Michael K is incredible. Everybody gives Joe Buck, so much heat because he does tend to be biased, but like listening to his words, the vocabulary he has, that's always great. There's a cadence that, before he retired, Alex Trebek had in asking questions on Jeopardy. Like those things make it come off like, okay, this is legit. He's calling this like a legit fight. He's calling this like a legit sporting event. So I've always tried to incorporate like a realistic sports sense so that it comes off audibly like, oh, this is legit. If I had to pick someone, is going to sound crazy, but if you know me, you know why. Like whenever Tom Seaver would call a Mets game, like that just always stuck to me.
Interesting.
And yeah, it's just like really, because, it's one, again, being like a former athlete, it's one thing to just, you go to school for it and you call it and you know it, you're great at it. But it's another thing when you're on the field. And whenever Seaver was calling a Mets game, it was just like, man, you can tell he's living or reliving a moment that he's been reminded of with today's game. So that's my thing, is to try to come off as a legit sports event and, mimic those kind of guys.
Nice. Harry, who do you look up to, or is anybody that you always wanted to emulate or just bring into your own?
So there's a big difference between color commentary and play-by-play.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, for people watching who aren't familiar, the play-by-play is somebody who's calling the moves, literally calling the action and calling the moves, what's going on. The color commentator is supposed to add like analysis or perspective or a little bit more story to it. So I always admired doing the color commentary part. I always loved Bobby the Brain Heenan. Because I thought he was the most hysterical. I thought he was always quick with a joke, but he was very underrated for what he did with when he had to call a serious match too, because he could do that. He could shift gears as well. I love Bobby the Brain Heenan. I think to me the best commentary team, even though I love Bobby the Brain Heenan better than anybody, it was Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler. I think JR is the greatest of all time who's done it wrestling wise. And Jerry the King Lawler could be funny, but also change gears. So that's what I look up to too. Like he could be funny, but then when there's a serious story, he's capable of doing that and, you know, adding his perspective and talking about the moves and actually treating it like a real sport as well when the time comes. So those two I loved. Those two were the team I loved most, but Bobby Heenan was my guy. Nice. Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Can I just double down on that?
Yeah.
And explain why? Everyone has that friend that's super quiet, that doesn't say anything. And then when things get real, that friend is the maniac who's destroying whoever wants to fight. So that's why Heenan was always like, holy shit, like it's kind of similar to the Jake the Snake promo thing.
Yes.
Where he's whispering, so he's drawing you in. Heenan's such a freaking prankster that when he's actually calling the match, you're like, oh my God, this guy's a genius. So yeah, I totally agree with him there. Like Heenan, when he was serious, you was just like your ears had like an orgasm. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, he was phenomenal.
Steve, who you got?
Inside of the wrestling context, it's kind of to the piggyback on the point that they were both making. A guy who doesn't really get enough credit, in my opinion, is Matt Stryker as a play-by-play.
Yeah.
Because he takes things up, he takes things down, he understands tenor, cadence, when to elevate, when to de-escalate things. So I always tried to model myself a little bit after that. Gorilla Monsoon, you know, fun, ridiculous, not afraid to be the butt of the joke, but have the ability to push back. Vince McMahon, because there are certain times where you have to be ridiculous. Mm-hmm. For me, it depends on what the promoter wants for their product. Some products are, we want it to be completely sports-based. We want you to know the origin of every move, who started it, why, so on and so forth. Other places want it to be a little bit more accessible to casual fans, where they want you to brand the moves to the performer. So it really depends on that. So I try to get as varied as possible. But if you're talking about outside of pro wrestling, Doc Emmerich.
Yeah.
Doc Emmerich, famous hockey play-by-play announcer. There's an enthusiasm and an infectious thing where he lives and dies with every moment, and he gets that across because he's passionate about it and he loves it. If you are indifferent to what you're calling, it comes across. And I don't care who you are in this business, there is a moment where every commentator has come across like they couldn't care less about what's going on in the ring, and they have to catch themselves and self-correct, because there are some times where there's duds in the ring, but it doesn't matter if your job is to take that match that isn't exactly stellar and sell it in a reasonable and logical way where it's still important.
Can I jump in, Steve, with something you did one time?
No.
We were calling some match, an offshoot match for was it ICW? I forget what it was in New York. IFW, IWF, whatever.
Probably ICW.
Yeah. I think it was Finn. Was it Future Is Now?
Future Is Now. It's like an
under the
offshoot
ICW banner.
So
yeah.
There was a match. It was Jay George, who is outlandish and a great performer. It was him and I don't know. It was him and I guess Kate. Who was it? Do you remember?
Was it Cannonball? It was the Friends of Tom, right?
Friends of Tom. Yeah, there was some match, and these guys. It was clearly a comedy match. It was clearly like anything Jay George is involved in is very like outlandish. So it's not going to be a straightforward, you know, Hackenschmidt, Gotch, you know, sort of Oliver Brown
catch can.
You know, we were expecting them to, but they were goofing around so much at one point. And I just go, I'm trying to play it straight, but it's crazy insanity. I go, this is the match we've all been waiting for, kind of semi-sarcastic. And then Steve shouts into the thing, yeah, literally. Like, literally. It's been 20 minutes since they hit the ring. We haven't rung the bell yet. And
they hadn't done a spot.
They hadn't done a spot yet. And it was just so long, and we had to, like, treat it, you know, we couldn't just treat it as a straightforward classic match. At one point, they did the spot where they dropped Doritos in the ring like it was it was
Thumbtacks,
thumbtacks or something. So the crowd
Cool
is
Ranch,
chanting
yeah.
"Holy shit!" and then and then I forgot which one of us shouted as they dropped them, like, "Oh my god, that man has a family."
Those are Southwest flavors.
Those are
And
Southwest flavors.
At that point, we had released the seriousness of it. We
Yeah.
realized we couldn't. So then we were talking about how the Cool Ranch flavor was seeping into the cuts on their back, and that's why it was painful. Like, we just let go and had fun with it. You have to be able to be kind of adaptable with that. Yeah.
I mean, he just made me laugh so hard when he goes, "This is the match we've literally been waiting for."
Katrina, do you have any favorite commentators or stuff that you like? Favorite people that you look up to, especially when commentating outside of, I guess, wrestling or?
Well, dude, I only do like commentary that you kind of forced me to do. So, like, he was just literally like, "So, Katrina, you're doing commentary," and I'm like, "Wait, why? What? We don't need to do this. Like, you don't need to hear my voice or anything." And here we are. So, the only reason I do color commentary is because I will not remember play at all. I would totally mess up somebody's move, and I'll be like, "Wait, what is that called again?" on like the microphone. So, color commentary, I can kind of talk shit. Like, I like talking shit, so I'm like, I can do that. Like, that's a piece of cake if I need to like kind of play off, like, oh, this heel is doing something. Let me play off that or whatever. But he's not wrestling commentary, but I always found his voice kind of soothing when he does like basketball commentary. Ernie Johnson.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
He has like a really like super like his voice is just very recognizable. So no matter if I don't even see his face, I like, okay, that's Ernie. And he's just like just a nice soothing, like if I didn't want to watch the basketball game, I'll probably watch it if I'm listening to audio of him. Just such a like he does it so well and so professional, and always just like he has his moments when he might get a joke up in there, and it's usually like that dry humor type of like sarcasm, and I love sarcasm, so that works for me. But he's somebody I definitely like appreciate as far as just like commentating anything at all. And I know he's like kind of new at this, but I feel like I liked people to bring energy. So I know people won't maybe agree, but Pat McAfee, just his energy. I mean, I know he'd be doing like stuff that's not necessarily like playbook commentary, but he's so like his energy is so infectious. And I'm like, if this match kind of sucked, well, that will help me get myself in the space to, want to make this sound a lot better, that you're like so into it. So I appreciate not necessarily, he obviously doesn't have like a background in commentating and broadcasting or anything, but just his energy is really infectious. And I do like a commentator, at least that can do that. Like if the match is dragging a bit, well, at least the commentary is funny. At least that's like good energy. And I can kind of go off that, even if I'm just watching it at home or something, like, okay, that works for me.
Really good commentary, not to jump in, just piggybacking off that. If the commentary is good enough, a lot of the times there's just so much wrestling on, I can't sit and watch it. So I leave it on in the background. And if the commentary is good enough, you can enjoy the show without actually seeing it, if they're doing their job properly. And that's what I like about the AEW team at the moment. Like, there's so much energy and enthusiasm, but what they're describing, you can kind of visualize the match, or at least visualize the story and the energy without watching, if it's done right.
To piggyback off the point that Katrina was making about not doing the traditional thing, sometimes that's a great thing because you have to take risks. If a promoter trusts you and you've earned that equity with the promoter based on your work, and they kind of give you the reins to be yourself because it's in their best interest for their business to have you be yourself on the microphone, because that's what they should be hiring you for, you're allowed to take a couple of more risks and to do things that are a little bit, unorthodox to kind of help get other people over. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I think that you should be talking to your promoter constantly and watching your own stuff to give yourself a critique. I used to never do it because I hate hearing the sound of my own voice. But sometimes you just have to get over that.
Me too, Steve. Me too.
Well, I hate hearing the sound of your voice too.
I think that's everybody's thing. Like, I hate hearing my own. Technically, for me, like, I'm forced to do my commentary.
Yeah, we hate hearing each other's voice.
Yeah, I meant Steve. I also hate hearing Steve's voice.
I just mute him mid-match. Yeah.
So I think one of my favorite commentators, and he's never just the voice alone, I was like, I like him. Ian Riccaboni from Ring of Honor, like something about his voice, just itself. I was like, oh, like he actually sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Even though he knows what he's talking about, the sound of it sounds. I like this guy. Like, you know, it
authoritative.
Yeah. I like Morolo just because he sounds professional, but he uses so much pop culture reference that's like in the now. Like, he just said that. He just said that. And I get it. And I think that's what I like, because he used whatever's pop culture and tried to put it into wrestling.
But that's also because he legitimately loves pop culture. That's why it works. It's not like he's trying to cram it in there.
Yeah, it's not like it's forced. It's authentic. Yeah, exactly. It's authentic. And that's one of the reasons why I like him.
Morrow's great.
And to piggyback off Steve, I believe Matt Stryker is amazing on commentary. I love his stuff in Lucha Underground because he actually knows the moves. You know, sometimes people, Lord, there's so many different type of wrestling maneuvers now. I remember back when people didn't even say top rope suicida. We just suicide dive, or he jumped over the rope. But there's so much moves that I'm pretty sure none of people don't even know half the moves' names half the time, and he just make that up. But the fact that he knows the moves, and it draws me like, okay, now I want to know the moves with no understanding pop culture references without being forced or without like sounding like real and authentic. It's so much goes into it, you know.
It depends on what your promoter wants, what the presentation of the product is. I've been told to call less moves. I've been told to call more moves. It's really about like finding, if the product doesn't have an identity to begin with, it makes the commentator's job 10 times harder, because you don't know if you got blood going in 9 different directions and it's not going in the same direction, it doesn't really help. So really knowing what the identity of the promotion is going into it is really helpful.
Cool. All right, so I'm gonna have like 10 more minutes on the clock. So if you guys have any questions right now, put them in the comment section down below. If you guys have any questions for Joakim, Harry, or Steve, put them in the comment section right now. I'll make sure to put it on the screen. Yeah.
Here's a tip I'll throw for promoters. Hey, staple your papers. For the love of God. Staple
at least a paper clip.
Or a paper clip, a piece of gum, something. There's nothing more annoying than handing somebody, and this is not every company, but the more complicated it is, the more stuff you're doing. Nothing worse than handing somebody a pile of 24 papers.
All out of order.
No staples,
numbers on the bottom.
Numbers thing. And I've literally had to go to promoters, to people running, and go, listen, every time you give me a pile of papers with no staples in it, it's like you're shitting in my mouth, just so you understand. That's how it feels to me. And then the next month, there it is again. There's a pile of papers with no staple. All right, I mean.
But at least it's color-coded.
You shit in my mouth again. And then, so I go, okay, you don't care. So now I'll have to bring my own stapler as part of my kit. So staple your papers, guys. That's all.
Worldwide Wrestling says no Marty Brennan man. We didn't mention no Marty Brennan man.
Marty Brenneman?
Yeah, Marty Brenneman. You guys didn't mention Marty Brenneman?
Oh, not familiar.
I'm not familiar for some reason.
Oh, Worldwide Wrestling.
Somebody putting over their friend? Am I missing?
It's probably him.
It's probably Marty Brenneman.
It's probably him saying it.
It's from
Why
Marty
didn't you
Meneman?
put me over?
Katrina, do you have any questions for them?
I think I had one earlier. Hold on, give me a minute, y'all.
That's okay.
I know I had one. It was good, and I'm upset that I forgot it.
That's all right. That'll happen a lot of the time. Sometimes I've had to forget things in the middle of a show. I have a line or something, and then I just have to also be willing to let stuff go, because there's plenty of stuff that comes in. And like, all right, I don't need to shoehorn this line in to try to get this thing. That moment has passed. Let it go.
or the references that no one else is going to get but you and your friends. Don't do that. If you've built, like, the good part is rewarding. The balance is trying to make it accessible for people who are watching the first time, but also reward people who have been with you the whole time. So some people will get references to things that happened historically within your promotion, but some people don't care about that at all, because it's like, why do I care about who held the title that doesn't even exist anymore 3 months ago or 12 months ago? I'm here now, I want to be invested at day one. You can alienate some fans, but you have to still do a service to the people who've been there for a while. So finding that balance is very important.
Oh, and count your 1, 2s, and 3s, guys. Count all the pinfalls.
I got a question. So there's baby faces and heels and all that stuff. Do you do your best, like, for the commentating team? Do you do your best to put that guy over as much as you can to give him the over? Like,
that's the whole
job.
Yeah. For both. There's ways that a play-by-play who's a babyface can get a heel over. There's ways that a heel can get a babyface over. Like, it's a symbiotic relationship. That's the whole goal.
Even as a heel, if I'm insulting somebody, my go-to is always, I never said that the guy didn't have any talent. He just doesn't have any brains or something. Or he doesn't just he makes lousy business decisions. He could be so much more successful. I'm not saying that he's not tough, whatever.
Okay.
So you can put people over. You never want to completely crap on somebody, because the old saying is, well, then what does it look like when he beats the other person or the other person beats him? It doesn't mean anything. Like, you want to put that best foot forward, even if they're going to lose, or even if you don't like them, because it just means more when you beat them, sort of thing.
And if you treat your product like it's crap, you look like crap because you're associating with it. Don't you want the people in the ring, regardless of their, skill set or level, you want to elevate them as best they can, because in a very selfish way, if you even think about it from a selfish way, by you making them look good, you look great. You know what I'm saying? Because you brought something out, or you told their story. And a lot of guys, if you do it right, a lot of these athletes, these males, these females who come back, they're like, I had an instance where somebody stopped me in the parking lot and was just like, hey, no one calls my matches like you. No one has done more to put me over and to put, the gentleman he was standing with over. That means I'm doing my job correctly. That should be the response that you're hoping to get. And it's a thankless job for a lot of commentators. 9 times out of 10, you could kill it and it doesn't matter, because from the performer's perspective, they're on to the next story. They have 19,000 different angles in their head. They've got a whole lot of stuff going on. So for them, it's a lot harder for them to keep track of all the angles. But when you've been in a certain place for a while and you've built equity with the performers, they will reach out to you and be like, oh, well, this was fantastic. And most who are very secure with themselves, if they don't like what you've done, they'll tell you. And you need to be able to take that criticism on board and be like, okay, this is what you didn't like. Maybe we can work together and I can, figure out a way to kind of bridge the gap in that regard. Listen to each other.
Cool. All right. So I guess one by one, what's the best tip you can give to a guy or a girl who wants to be a future commentator? Starting with Joakim.
Research the product, research the performers, research, everything you can. Talk to everyone that you can. Like Steve's been saying the whole night, it always depends on what the promotion wants, what the promoter wants. It could be more moves, less moves, more scientific, less scientific, more technical, whatever. But research what it is you're going into, especially if you're young, and get your reps in. And they don't have to be live reps. Best tip I was told was turn on some of your favorite wrestling matches, mute it, and you call it, just so that you get more familiar with making those calls when they happen. And then once you've done that, listen to it and see how you measure up. So that would be my thing. Research and get your reps in.
Harry.
The one that I love more, the one thing I know Tony Schiavone told me when I talked to him was call it like it's legit. That was a big one. Just treat it like whatever's happening in the ring is real. That's good. But for me, the thing I had to learn, energy. Energy is huge, because it's always better to have more energy, too much energy, because you could dial it back, than having no energy and letting it be monotone, because everyone who comes into it is so in their heads and so focused on everything that they're just very monotone, and like they're just calling it, and it ends up making the product slower. Energy is huge. It's not the only thing, but if you're giving one tip, everyone else is giving good tips so far. So that's something for me personally, with like, just be hyped about it. and the rest will follow.
Steve.
Be patient and humble yourself a little bit. Don't come in there trying to be the show. You are not the show. You are literally translating visual input to audio for other people to understand. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's not about you. If you treat it like it's not about you and it's about the product and what people are seeing in front of you, you will get that back tenfold.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone. You guys have any plugins you want to plug in or a future show that you want to advertise? Now is the chance. Joakim.
Yeah, October 1st, Friday, October 1st in Brooklyn. Just like Jobber Slam, invite only. If you want to come out, hit us up, let us know. 5-year anniversary. Got some really big things that I haven't been able to announce yet. We're going to get that graphic soon. So stay tuned for those match announcements. And, if you want to be a sponsor or come out, just, you can email us, hit us up on any social media platform. And then also, if anyone who is in the EFED community is looking to become a wrestler, I have opened up a wrestling school in Long Island City along Mr. Martinez of Federated called the Fallout Shelter. Mike Law is a coach there. Jorge
A lot of
Santos
good trainers over there. A lot of good
Appreciate
people.
that.
For sure.
Steve Pena and Masha Slamovich was just on NWA. So 4 of the best, well-rounded, well-experienced, and diverse coaches you could have. And then last, at the Fallout Shelter, which will end up being filmed and put on Twitch, 5 Points Championship is going to be decided. 16-person tournament. We're announcing talent slowly so far. Jorge Santos coming out of retirement to take place. We just announced Anthony Gamble, Chris Barton, and Masha will be part of it. That's 4 of the 16. Stay tuned for those announcements. Thank you so much for having me on, dude. This was awesome. Steve, like I said, I'll see both you guys on the 17th. And I hope you guys come out for October 1st. It'd be great to see you.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Harry.
You could go to all my social media is at Harry Terjanian, especially the YouTube channel is where you can see some of my stand-up and the podcast I do, Man School 202. But also I'm going to be posting some more wrestling stuff because I'm going to be working for some new companies very soon. And that's where my demos and stuff will be. It'll be fun to check that out. So if anybody enjoys this, specifically going this deep and being nerdy about commentary, which thank you, because I'm so nerdy about commentary, I'm posting some stuff up there, and my reel will be up there shortly. So check it out. At Harry Terjanian for everything.
I'll make sure to get everybody plugins, and we'll most definitely put it in the description down below. Steve.
Oh, well, I got a bunch of stuff. First, on social, at Grapple Talker on Instagram and on Twitter. Catalyst Wrestling returns to live action on September the 17th. Go to tinyurl.com/steal-the-show. The main event, I believe, card subject to change, will be the Allfather Darius Carter taking on the Catalyst Wrestling champion, Colby Carino. I believe doors are at 7. Also, I do a radio show 3 days a week on Twitch, twitch.tv/HMradio, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9 p.m. to 11. If you guys like comedy, if you like just really having a lot of fun, head on over there. But again, thank you both for having us on. This is a conversation that needs to happen more often because it's not just standing in front of a microphone and speaking. There is a craft to it. There is an art to it. There is stuff that you need to do in order to kind of be competent. And I think that the next generation of commentators, myself included, need to have these conversations more.
I should get you guys in XVPW. This should be interesting. This would be cool. Yeah. I can't.
Be down to do it. I'd be down to do it. I got a lot of free time right now.
Katrina, you have any updates on your channel you want to shout out? Plug in?
I do plan on reviewing that new John Cena movie. So everybody knows my YouTube channel is a mix of like nerdy stuff and wrestling. So I do have a couple of wrestling interviews I am editing to get up soon. And if you're interested in just women's wrestling, I am part of Women's Wrestling Talk, which is now on Fight TV every other week. So that's pretty cool. So.
All right, cool. Update on Extreme Virtual Pro Wrestling, guys. I just finished the second match. I got 2 more matches for Intercontinental Incident at the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City. So I'm looking forward to actually publishing that very, very soon. So I'm actually ahead of my schedule. So I'm actually looking forward to that. And hopefully I get Steve, Harry, and Joakim to join me on commentary. That'd be actually pretty cool.
I'd love to.
Let's do it.
I've never done it. It'd be a new experience.
And Yvette, Katrina, this is gonna be fun.
17-person booth. Let's go.
One
word at a time. We'll finish each other's sandwiches.
Exactly. There's so much to make up for over the last 17 months.
Why not do it all at once?
All at once.
Yeah, let's get it all at once.
I'm a choreograph a 30-minute match, and we're gonna get our coins in.
Katrina's only gonna give it a 4 though. So. I mean.
All right, guys, thank you for listening to the EFBC panel discussion, episode 8 on commentating with Steve, Harry, and Joakim. This is actually a really good episode, and I do agree that Steve that we should. Commentary is most definitely an art, and it's not easy. It's not easy. So, but yeah, thank you guys, and we are.